In the 1960s, a young man named Frank Abagnale Jr. became one of the most successful con artists in history. By the age of just 21, he had pulled off crimes so daring it seemed impossible they were real. Frank started small, forging checks to support himself after running away from home as a teenager. But soon, his schemes grew bolder. He discovered that with a fake uniform and some confidence, he could pass himself off as just about anyone. Posing as a Pan Am airline pilot, Frank traveled the world for free, hitching rides in cockpits and enjoying luxury accommodations, all while cashing fraudulent checks along the way. He never once actually flew a plane, but his charm and forged credentials fooled countless professionals. At different points, Frank successfully posed as a doctor, a lawyer, and even a college professor. Each time, he used nothing more than forged documents, quick thinking, and his ability to talk his way out of suspicion. His exploits spanned over 26 countries, and he stole millions of dollars without ever using violence. Meanwhile, the FBI was on his trail. Agent Carl Hanratty, who pursued him for years, considered Frank one of the cleverest criminals he had ever encountered. But eventually, Frank's luck ran out. In 1969, he was arrested in France and later extradited to the United States, where he served prison time for forgery and fraud. What makes Frank Abagnale's story even more unbelievable is what happened next. After serving only a few years, the U.S. government offered him a chance at redemption, to use his skills to help catch other fraudsters. He went on to become a respected security consultant, working with the FBI and major corporations to fight check forgery and identity theft. His incredible double life inspired the 2002 film Catch Me If You Can, directed by Steven Spielberg and starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks. While the movie added some dramatization, most of Frank's outrageous schemes, from bluffing his way into an ER to faking a Harvard law degree, really did happen. Today, Frank Abagnale is proof that sometimes truth really is stranger than fiction. His story remains one of the most extraordinary examples of deception and reinvention ever told. In the 1980s, a man named Chris Gardner found himself trapped in one of the most difficult struggles of his life. A medical equipment salesman living in San Francisco, he invested everything he had into portable bone density scanners, believing they would be the future of healthcare. But the machines were expensive and difficult to sell, leaving him drowning in debt. At the same time, his personal life began to collapse. His relationship with his wife fell apart under the weight of financial stress, and eventually she left, leaving Chris to raise his young son, Christopher Jr., on his own. Despite being a devoted father, Chris soon found himself broke, evicted, and with nowhere stable to live. For nearly a year, he and his son bounced between homeless shelters, church programs, and even nights spent sleeping in a subway bathroom. Through it all, Chris worked tirelessly to protect his son from the harsh reality of their situation, doing everything he could to provide love and stability. Then came an opportunity that would change everything. Chris managed to secure an unpaid internship at the prestigious brokerage firm Dean Witter Reynolds. It was a risky gamble, 6 months of work with no guarantee of a job at the end. But Chris believed that if he could endure the hardship, he might finally secure a future for his son. Every day, he wore the same suit, carrying his belongings in a single bag, hiding his homelessness from his colleagues. Despite his struggles, he outperformed nearly everyone in the program, making endless cold calls, studying late into the night, and never giving up. In 1982, Chris Gardner's perseverance paid off. He was offered a full-time position at the firm. From there, his career skyrocketed. Years later, he founded his own brokerage company, Gardner Rich & Co., and became a self-made millionaire. His remarkable story of resilience and determination inspired the 2006 film The Pursuit of Happiness, starring Will Smith and his son, Jaden Smith. While the movie dramatized some events, the core of the story, a father's unshakable determination to build a better life for his child, remains completely true. Chris Gardner's life is proof that even in the darkest moments, with persistence, sacrifice, and love, it's possible to rise above the odds and rewrite your destiny. In World War II, one of the most remarkable true stories of courage didn't come from a soldier with a rifle, but from one who refused to carry one at all. His name was Desmond Doss, a deeply religious man from Virginia who believed in the commandment, "Thou shalt not kill." When he joined the U.S. Army as a medic, he refused to touch a weapon. Many of his fellow soldiers mocked him, calling him a coward, and some even tried to get him thrown out. But Doss stood firm in his conviction. He would serve his country, but he would not kill. In 1945, Doss's unit was sent to the brutal Battle of Okinawa, tasked with scaling a deadly cliff nicknamed Hacksaw Ridge. At the top waited a battlefield of chaos, explosions, machine gun fire, and relentless waves of Japanese soldiers. Casualties mounted quickly, and the ridge became a slaughterhouse. But when most of his unit was forced to retreat, Desmond Doss stayed behind, alone. Without a weapon, under heavy fire, he crawled across the battlefield, searching for the wounded. One by one, he dragged injured soldiers to the edge of the cliff, lowered them down on a rope, and whispered a simple prayer each time, "Lord, please help me get one more." Through the night, Doss continued. By morning, he had saved an astonishing 75 men, risking his life again and again, never picking up a gun. His bravery stunned even those who once mocked him. Later, Desmond Doss became the first conscientious objector in U.S. history to be awarded the Medal of Honor, the nation's highest military decoration. His story was brought to the big screen in the 2016 film Hacksaw Ridge, directed by Mel Gibson and starring Andrew Garfield. While the movie captured the horrors of war, the core of the story remained true. One man's faith and determination saved dozens of lives. Desmond Doss's life is a reminder that courage doesn't always come from violence. Sometimes it comes from the refusal to give in to it.